Yeah, Rajaram, it's live.
Yeah. Okay. Good afternoon, all, and happy Vinayak Chaturthi to all the participants and as well as to the speaker. And thanks for joining us, Balsundar sir, for
Thank you.
this session. And we hope that you will deliver the best for us, and hope we can learn something out of you. And the participants, if you want to interact with sir, please raise your hands. We will unmute you at the time of interaction. Over to Balsundar sir.
Right, yeah. Good afternoon to everybody. Um, Thank you for inviting me for this session. Am I audible?
Yeah, yes, sir. You're audible.
Thank you. Yeah, right, okay. Today's session, as we have understood, is the topic about student versus professionals. So I've been given to understand that many of us here are students in colleges or universities, and we're looking at a professional life or a professional career from here on. Right. So let me quickly uh, suggest or take you through a few things which I've gathered in the last 45 years in my life. This session purely consists of few key points which I have used in my personal life, and I believe this is useful to others. Hardly will have one or two examples from the internet or from some other book, because that is available to you all the time. So what we're going to discuss is about how few things have been told to me in my life and how it has been useful and how I'm benefited out of it. I'm Balasundar. People call me Balsu. That is the name which I have. And I run an academy in a place called Madurai in Tamil Nadu. It's called Balsu Success Academy. I'm an author, been an education consultant, been a corporate trainer. I'm also a mentor to the Madurai Business Group. In Madurai, we have close to 320 elite businessmen, and we have formed a group. It's called Madurai Business Group, where we do a lot of inter-business communication. And I'm a mentor for that group, which means that I'm supposed to help different type of businessmen in their strategies, in their decision making at various points of time. Specifically, in the last 4 or 5 months of this pandemic, there has been a huge, huge change in the way business has been looked upon across various industries. So, as a mentor, I need to understand them and help them out to survive. Basically, that's the whole point. Also, there is a young entrepreneur school where we train entrepreneurs. We assist the newcomers or the freshers towards entrepreneurship. We also assist second generation, third generation to move into modern ways of entrepreneurship. So I'm a member there and I teach there to a lot of young entrepreneurs on various areas. Besides that, I'm a trainer for various corporates. I also train students for the management entrance examinations called CAT, which people take for getting into the IIMs. Similarly, I help students to get into national law universities for their integrated law program. So this is fairly about me. I'm 46 years old and I'm married and I have 2 kids. We all live in Madurai. Before coming to Madurai, I'm in Madurai for the last 13 years as an entrepreneur. Before that, I was in Bangalore. I was working for Bangalore for 10 years as a business head in an organization, went on to become a marketing head for the nation. Only after that, I quit that and become an entrepreneur. Before that, I had done my graduation in physics, and before that, I did my schooling all over India. So I was there in a lot of places in India for my schooling because my father had a transferable job. So that's far and large who am I. Let's directly jump into the session. The session, I believe, we can take it very interactive. We will discuss few points. I would like to have your opinion in terms of how do you look into that and what do you feel about it. So I would be very happy if you can be very, very frank with me or very comfortable with me in talking to me in your language. And let's say if you're comfortable with English, it is English. If you're fine with Hindi, I'm fine with Hindi. But Telugu, I am not very comfortable. Telugu, very little is what I understand because I watch very decent amount of Telugu movies. So I understand Telugu, but I cannot communicate back in Telugu. So that's pretty much the guideline for today's session, right? Today,
Sir,
what we're going
if
to see.
anybody wants to say anything in Telugu, we'll translate it if you have an issue.
No. First, I will try to understand. If I'm not able to understand, then I'll ask you.
Sure.
I'll take the opportunity to learn also. Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you, sir. So the first question which I would like to put to all the students here or all the people who are sitting here is, how many of you are students here? How many of you are students here? People sitting here, let's say Shiva Reddy, Shravan, Sai Pavan, Manoj. Do you all are students? Shankar, Venkatesh. Shiva Reddy raised his hand, okay. Shiva Reddy? Yeah, you can answer, Shiva Reddy. I think you need to be unmuted by the host.
ఇది అన్ని ఫోటోలు ఎగ్జాంపుల్ స్టేటస్ పెట్టుకొని చెప్తారు. అవునవునవును.
Right, I'm muted. I got it. Yeah.
అదే అనుకుంటున్నాను.
Right. So my next question is very simple. My question is, how many of you are professionals here? Is anybody a professional here in this group? Do we have a professional here? Anybody who's in this group is a professional? Okay, fine. So that is exactly what we're going to talk about today. In terms of, yeah, sorry, yeah, go ahead. Right. So the point is, how do we move from a student's segment to a professional segment? When I was doing this session to another institution, the students immediately said, sir, we need to finish off a graduation and go to a job. Once we are into a job, we are professionals. Right? So my point is, as a student, can we be professional? Can we be student as well as professional both? Before that, before we jump into that point, let us understand, what do we mean by professional? Why are we not saying that today we are not a professional? Right? Let us see. Who is a professional? I was reading a book written by a person by name Mr. Subrato Bagchi. He happens to be the CEO of Mindtree Consulting. And it is very beautifully he puts it. He says, a person who is accountable for his or her actions and takes responsibility for his or her growth is a professional. So I was like, I found it very interesting statement. A person who is accountable for his or her actions. Okay, that puts a lot of accountability on me for my actions. And a person who takes responsibility for his or her own growth. That means I am responsible for my growth. The day when I feel that way, I'm a professional. That means any specific course or an academic knowledge or a degree or an institutional program may not be professional if I as an individual still don't take responsibility for my growth, or if I as an individual do not have accountability for my actions. Why I'm saying this? Because in India, we have something called as a professional course and a non-professional course. So professional courses we classify into engineering, CA, medicine, law, etc. And the remaining courses like BCom, BSc, BA, whatever it is, they are all called non-professional courses. Fine, that is for a different reason. They say, just because you do such courses, you're not a professional. Just because you're employed in the IT sector or a non-IT sector or an FMCG sector or bank or defense or any places where you get a pay, does not mean you're a professional. Who is a professional? A person who is accountable for his or her action and takes responsibility for his or her own growth. So, do I tell myself that I am responsible for my growth? Do I tell myself I'm accountable for my actions? Let me take an example, small example, right? Normally, this happens in school days, college days, when we are in school and colleges. Sometimes when the teacher asks simple questions like, where is the homework? In my days, or probably even today when I see a lot of kids, they tend to put a blame on somebody else for they not doing their homework. Now, the somebody else can be parents, can be any other situation in home, can be neighbors, can be friends, can be anybody else. For example, I myself have been doing that. During my school days, when the teacher asked the homework, I said, my parents took me to some place so I could not do the homework. My parents took me to somewhere. So it is my parents' mistake, not my mistake. Or there was no power in the room, power in the house. There was no electricity yesterday. So I did not do the homework. What is happening? I am trying to put somebody else responsible for my actions. Instead, now what happens as I grow, the same responses is what I practice even in my office, even in my college. In college, suppose a HOD asks me, saying, where is your project? Or what happened to your assignment? I immediately have 2 or 3 names on which I can put the blame on. Sir, my group member did not help me, sir. They are not comfortable, sir. Right? Or my senior said this is not going to be a viable project, sir. Right? Now both situations may be right. How do I put it? If I am a professional, I'll say, sir, I checked and inquired with my seniors. I also checked with some industry professionals, and I happen to understand. And I happen to understand that this project does not have a scope. Hence, I would want to change my project. This communicates to be a very good professional communication, wherein I am trying to take accountability for me not doing a work, and I'm taking the responsibility of communicating that this is what I have understood, sir. Right? So how does this happen, sir? How do I become a professional? It is not overnight that we become a professional, or it is not that we have to become a professional at the age of 30 or 40 or 60, nothing like that. What is stopping us to become a professional? There are only 3 points which is we have to think. Only 3 points. Just 3 areas, if we can concentrate. We are a professional today itself. You are a school student, you can be a professional. You are a college student, you are a professional. You just started your career in some organization, you are a professional. You've been there existing in the organization for 10 years, you still can be a professional. You're married, you started your own business, you can still become a professional now. Anytime you can become a professional, provided you understand there are 3 things which you have to overcome. First thing is the difference between a short-term thinking and a long-term thinking. Right? Short-term thinking, long-term thinking. What do I mean by short-term thinking? Now let me use these words with a connotation. For example, when I say student's mentality, I'm talking about the mentality of the student in a negative form. When I say professional mentality, I'm talking about the mentality of the person in a positive form. So I'm using these words for clarity for the remaining session. Short-term thinking, student's mentality. Long-term thinking, professional mentality. Here, when I say student, does not mean he is going to school or college. Student's mentality. You can be at the age of 40, you can still have a student's mentality. You can be at the age of 35, you can still have a student's mentality. Similarly, you may be at the age of 14, you may be at the age of 20, but you can still have a professional mentality. Right? So what do I mean? Short term versus long term. When I think like a student, I think short term. For example, why do I use it? Let me take an example. When we are in a college, when we are in a school, many a times we have put this question. Sir, exam, sir. Yes, exam. What are the important chapters, sir? What are the important questions, sir? If I combine these 2 chapters, will it be sufficient, sir? There are 8 chapters, which can I leave, sir? Or other questions like, what is the minimum amount of attendance that I should maintain, sir? How many minimum assignments I should do, sir? How many minimum projects can I do, sir? Right? What I'm asking in my mind, if you look at my vocabulary now, I've asked for minimum in my life. I've asked minimum study, I want maximum benefit. I want to study minimum portion, I want to get maximum questions right. I want to put minimum effort, get maximum benefit. But this will not happen, my dear. If you're asking only minimum in your life, what you get is also minimum in your life. Why? Not because we don't have the capability, because somewhere in an attitude, we're not moved towards a professional thinking, which is long term. Right? Now look at it. I may approach the same thing from a different angle also. There are eight lessons or 8 chapters in the portion. Right? I am interested in only 3 of them. I'm in love with those three chapters or 3 concepts so much that I read only those 3 chapters, not because they're important, just because I love it. And then I go write an exam. Out of those 3 chapters, there are only 4 questions out of 10 questions which come in. I do a fantastic job in the 4 questions, come out, have a result of 55%, 50%, and be happy about it. What do I say to myself? I loved those chapters. I did justification to the questions in the chapter, and I'm rewarded to what I loved for. This is a professional mentality. Now look at it. A student and a professional is studying only 3 chapters. But a student mentality person studies saying, this is minimum. If I study, I'll get maximum mark and I can pass and I can escape the situation. But in a professional mentality, studies only 3 chapters because he loves it, does it very thoroughly, goes for an exam, does justification to the three chapters question, comes out, whatever marks he gets, he's happy about it. Because he knows he has not put effort for the remaining things. Short-term thinking to long-term thinking. Right? Similarly, when we have such short-term thinking, when we move in an industry, when we're working in a working career, in a workplace environment, whenever there's a work given to us, we try to do short-term thinking. How? I have joined new to the organization, right? All my school days, college days, I only asked important questions or important chapter. Now when I come to work, the first question I ask my manager is, how many hours should I work? By when do you want this report? Or I learn from a senior saying how to do this so that my manager is happy. Right? If you look at it that angle, then probably our surviving in this industry is going to be very, very difficult. Not because I don't have the ability, but because I'm looking at shortcuts in life. The more we look at shortcuts in life, the more we try to keep somebody happy with less work, we are only fooling ourselves. Instead, a professional mentality guy comes, he knows only some amount of knowledge about the product or the service which you're dealing. He is recruited inside the organization. He's been given a work. He says, sir, these are the things which I don't know. How do I learn? These are the things which I know. I'll give you my best. Now look at it. What type of person he is. And wouldn't the organization love such type of people who have a clarity saying, this is what I'm good at, I'll do. These are the areas which I'm not good at, hence I'll not be able to do unless and until you provide me a training program. Right, so this is long term. One example of our transformation from a student thinking to a professional thinking. Students' attitude towards a professional attitude. I've been into education business for many years. I've seen a lot of parents come and talk to me. Many parents. They bring their son or daughter in the age of 8th standard, 9th standard. They come and ask me, sir, I want my daughter to become an IAS officer. I want my daughter to become a engineering graduate. Or I want my son to become a pilot or an ISR or scientist. Right? Very good long-term thinking. I appreciate. But as soon as they say that, the next question makes me very worried. Next question is they ask is, what course should I study? How easy it will be? What is the easy way to become an IAS officer? What is the easy way to become a doctor? What is the easy way to become an ISRO scientist? So I used to think many times, if you go to any ISRO scientist or to any doctor in the current situation and ask them how easy it was for them to become a doctor and to be here. Manoj, can we?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Any doubts? Any questions? I've been hearing some.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Manoj. Yeah. Right. Super. Right. So my question is, if there is an easy method to become an ISRO scientist, if there's an easy method to become an IAS officer, wouldn't everybody jump into it? Answer. Answer two. So people who have done it easy way, or they have taken really a professional way. I'm not saying the opposite of easy way is hard way. I'm saying professional way of doing things. This is what I want. This is what I'm capable of currently. I need to increase my capability. I can provide 6 hours. I can provide 7 hours for my work or 3 hours for study. Hence, I move forward long term. Okay? So this is one area which we have to think. Okay. Second area, if you look at it, is blaming versus suggestion. First area is short term versus long term. It will, if you change the short term thinking to long term thinking, we are becoming a professional even at this age. The second method, any one method itself is fine. I'm giving you 3 methods. Method number 2, blaming versus suggestion. What do I mean by that? Each time there is an issue, each time there is a roadblock which I face, am I blaming somebody? Am I blaming a situation? Am I blaming a person or a context or a government or somebody else? If I get into that habit, I'm always thinking from a student's mentality. Right? Instead, what I should do? I should be accountable for my action and responsible for my growth. Are they professional? So where do I blame? Let's again take the college situation, school situation, right? Or home situation, wherever it is. Why have you got less marks? Somebody asks you, what is the answer you will give? Somebody asks you, why did you get less marks in this particular subject? Emi cheptaru? Answer? Normal, Emi cheptaru? What answer you will say normally? Yeah, somebody want to try? What answer you would give if somebody says, why have you got less marks? What will you say normally?
I could not understand like that.
Correct. So
Generally.
somebody, we can say, I could not understand. Okay. Okay. Then somebody else. Normally, what are the other reasons students give?
I did not had time to study.
We did not have time to study. Otherwise, you say the teacher was not listening when I asked out. Or teacher is very strict. School did not cover this portion. Normally, this is what we say, isn't it? We say that as a college student also, we say this faculty, this subject was not a good faculty. This faculty did not give important question. Or in my case only, yeah, Shravan. Yeah, Shravan is raising a hand. Shravan, you can unmute and talk, or somebody can help them. Yeah, Shravan.
Yes.
Yeah,
Am I
Shravan.
audible?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, we try to escape like I was not well while exams are going on. Like we escape.
Correct. We used that escape mechanism. We say we are not well, right? We had some other appointment.
We had a function, we had to go for it.
Correct. Pinniki vivaham aipoyindi, something like that, right? So we say that, right? We all say that, right? But you look at it, if you go to an IAS interview and they say there is a date for IAS interview, you have to go to IAS interview. At the same time, Pinni Vivaham jarigindi. But what can we tell them? Can we tell them Pinni Vivaham? No. We will go there because we see
No,
it is more serious. Yeah, we take decisions. Right?
no.
Appudu we don't do blaming, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Because we think from a professional angle. I'm saying, why do we think like a professional angle only in an emergency situation? Why don't we do it regularly? Right? What happens when in the school and a college, we end up doing this blaming game for escaping? When we come to job, we do the same thing. I have joined as a business executive in an organization. My manager is asking me a report at the end of the first month. I show him some numbers. This is what we have done. This is what we have done. He says, very good, Balasundar, very good. Very good. Super. Next month also I show him a report. Right? Third month, I am not able to meet what he wants from me. I have not met my target. I am below expectation. Because he is asking me question. Right? He is asking me question. Ema Indi Balsu sir, what happened? Why you are not able to achieve? Now what happened? Immediately I remember my school days and college days. Each time somebody has questioned me, standard dialogue what I gave, sir, I was not well, sir. This time I was not well, sir. This time this corona came, sir. This time that happened, sir. This time Modi has given this statement, sir. This time flood in this, sir. Whatever it is. Instead, see, all these things are not avoidable. Modi giving a sentence, corona coming, flood happening in Godavari is not avoidable at all. But how do I say it is more professional than a student's mentality. Am I blaming or I'm coming with suggestions? I have failed on the third month because of my non-performance or because of whatever reason. Can I tell my manager, sir, last 2 months I performed because A, B, C, D, E, 5 things were supporting me. This time I was not able to get support from A and B, which was like the government things changed and the flood came in. Hence, I would like to overcome this opportunity by this help. Can you provide me this help? What is the opinion you're giving to a superior then? Superior will obviously understand this person, whenever he fails, he comes up with an alternate and a suggestion. He's ready to learn and grow. Why? That thinking comes only when we are having a professional way of thinking. Instead, blaming. When we blame, the manager will say, okay, this month I'll accept. Next month I'll not accept. Be sincere. That's what he'll say and go. Next month we are afraid of him. Then after 3-4 months later, we'll change the job. We'll say that manager is very bad with politics and all, we'll say, and we'll go out. Instead, if I have suggestive, I say, sir, this month I want this type of support, or this is what the situation, how do you help me? Where do I go and learn to overcome this? Now the team is ready to help. The management is ready to listen to you and help. Normally, I'm saying normally this happens. People listen because they want to help you and you have to help them back. So suggestive mentality. Each time there's a problem in a college or in a mess where we had a food, this happens. I was in a hostel where every third day, every fourth day, there's a problem. Mess person did not give me this food. He insulted me. There is no proper ventilation. There is no proper electricity. Various things. Correct? Mess person insulted you. You don't know whether he insulted or appreciated. You took it that way. As a suggestive person, what I can say? Can I approach the issue with a little more professional way? That is what is required. So this practice, this way of living, you will be considered as a professional. Once you keep practicing, when you come to job, when you own your own business, I own my business for the last 13 years in Madurai. Actually, there's a small, a very common statement which a lot of people do. In India, I saw that, of course, in India. When we are working as an employee, right, a lot of people say it is very difficult to work. I don't want to work for one boss. I don't want to work for somebody. I don't want to make somebody rich. So I want to become an entrepreneur. That's a lot of people say that. Do you know, as soon as you become an entrepreneur, you have to actually work for everybody. Nam office pani manishi, if she doesn't come to work, I have to go and check. I have to ask her politely, Yenamma, why are you not coming? Will you come? Not come? She is not my manager. She is not my vice president. She's pani manishi. So I need to get there and ask. But as an employee, will I ask? As a student mentality, will I ask? No. I only blame. Why is this table not clean? If some customer come and ask me, if I have a student mentality, what will I say? I'll say, sir, that person has not done the work, sir. Why are you asking me, sir? Sir, this person has not done the work, sir. They did not come, sir. It is not my area, sir. Right? It is not your area. Absolutely not. You are not supposed to go and clean the table. But suggestive opportunities, suggestive methods of communicating. Why is this not clean? I'm sorry. The person who's supposed to come, I don't think is informed. I will do an alternate arrangement. The problem, the solution comes because I'm using the I there. I am responsible for my growth. I am accountable for my actions. So this is the second type of, what do you say, approach from a student's mentality to professional mentality. I'll give you one more example of the same thing. How many of you have traveled in, let's say, bus, train? I think all of you have traveled in bus and train, right? Isn't it? Now, if you look at it, many of the buses and or share auto for that matter, and autos which plying from one place to another places, small autos. When we travel in them, many of the autos or buses are not kept very well. The seats are not good. Probably the floor of the buses is not good. It hits you somewhere here and there, right? The steel rods are come somewhere poking you. It all happens. Sometimes we get hit and all. Now, if the bus condition is not good, or let us say the road condition during rainy season, if you're in a place like Bangalore or Hyderabad, I've been to Hyderabad quite a few times. In rainy season, you find a lot of potholes, and you're going in an auto. And how will you feel if you go in an auto in a pothole-filled road? How do you feel like? What is your feeling?
Yeah, my feeling is, sir, that why we have voted for
correct. We are, correct. Very good. I accept that. Right? I'll tell you how I feel. I feel like a king. You know why? I feel like a Raja. You know why? Can anybody guess? Can somebody take a guess? When I go in an auto in a road which is full of potholes, I feel like a king or a prince. Any guesses? Somebody want to guess? Why do I say that?
Because you can feel that you are traveling on a palanquin bearer, so somebody is carrying you.
Or in a horse.
Yeah, or
you
an
keep
horse.
on bumping, you keep
Bumping.
on
Yeah,
bumping, you keep on bumping, right? You feel like a prince or a horse. I believe that all these prince and horses, normally when they go itself, they have to keep on bumping. They have to move their whole body even though they're sitting on a horse. That is the feel I get when I go in an auto. Apo, now look at it. Bad roads, like Shravan said, we feel cheated because of these wrong politicians and wrong contractors or short-term thinking people. Yes, we feel that. But look at it. Who is very happy with that? Who is very happy saying that, wow, these roads have so much of potholes. Wow, this bus condition is very bad. Super. Who will say that? Who is looking that incident as an opportunity? Any guess? Somebody is looking that as an opportunity. He is not blaming, he is very happy that the roads are very bad. Who is that? Who will do that?
Coming to politics means opposition will take an opportunity.
Okay, that is one. Now look at it. Wouldn't the road contractor be very happy?
Yeah,
The road contractor will be very happy.
in terms of getting the contract, will be
Exactly. So he looks at a situation, same situation, what you and me are feeling or going through. We both go through the same situation. Somebody is worried, somebody looks as an opportunity. Bad bus body, bad bus interior, bodybuilder company will take an opportunity. That manager or that person will say, wow, this bus is very bad. Now I'll contract them and go for an order with them. So my point is, every situation where we have a blame game, somebody else is looking at an opportunity only because of the professional mentality. They suggest that this is bad, hence these are the areas of improvement. Like Shravan said, each time I have this situation, I remember, why did I vote to a wrong politician? Immediately your mind says, this time I should correct my parameter of selecting a right politician. This time I should see that I'm not cheated because of false promises. So I'm started thinking like a professional. When I say professional, does not mean they don't have any problems in their life. They also have problems in their life. But the way they approach to solve their problems is what makes them professional. Today we hear a lot of inspiring story about Ratan Tata or Abdul Kalam. And I'm sure you should know that Abdul Kalam, Ratan Tata or Infosys Narayana Murthy, everybody had their own share of problem. You have a problem, everybody have a problem. But each time Ratan Tata had a problem or an Abdul Kalam had a problem, the way they think, the way they act to overcome the problem is exactly different from the way the student mentality person asks. That is the only difference. I was doing a session for entrepreneurs and basically they touched upon a point called maturity. They say, sir, my employees are not very mature. So my question was, how do you understand if somebody is mature or not? Right? For example, in college we say that, in school, even working professionals we say that. My people are very immature people, sir. How do you say immature? How do I measure maturity? Is there a tool? Is there a meter? Today we have this corona meter, something like that. Do we have a meter to check maturity level? Out of 10, 7, sir. Out of 10, 9.5, sir. And even though we measure, is it same all days? Is Balsu's maturity same always? Does it fluctuate? How do I find out the maturity level? Any thoughts? Venkatesh, Shankar, Varun, Bhim, Ramgopal, any thoughts? You can discuss, you can just tell me what you feel. How do I measure maturity?
No possibility, sir. Actually, we cannot. We are the human beings.
Correct.
We are equally equipped with the brain.
Super. Same size of brain, everybody gets it. Correct, Sherman. Okay.
And but different thoughts.
Different thoughts.
You have a different opinion. I have a different opinion.
Very correct.
So
Very correct.
based on that, we cannot judge a person that is matured or immature in that particular area.
Very true. Right. Very true. What you said is 100% true, Shravan. First of all, we should not judge. First point is, I should not become judgmental by looking at you for 1 minute or 1 instance or 1 day or 1 year. I should not become judgmental. Second, I cannot measure maturity. Right.
Probably
So,
we can say that people are immature because, like, if I say any work to any of my colleague or if I say anything to my staff, if they don't do that, so if they are not cooperating with me, I may count them as immature, maybe.
Correct. If what you said is perfectly fine, but look at it, sir. If I give a work to my subordinate and they are not able to do that work or they did not do that work, I consider them as immature. Probably they also consider me as immature, saying what difficult task is giving. Is he having any maturity?
Yeah, same.
Maybe from their angle, I am immature. Right. So it is very, very perspective driven, and it is very, very depending upon one's upbringing, it changes. Now, but still we have to work on it. So the way I worked on it in the last few years, I worked on this particular concept called how do I find out whether somebody is mature or not? Because it's always good to have matured people around us. So two things I found out. One, let's say an average denominator to identify would be the age. Let's say your age is 27 or 28. Is your thinking process normally 2%, 3% above the thinking process of all the 27-year-old at that particular situation? is that case, you are little mature. You are at the age of 20 and you speak like somebody who's 25 years old because you get that data, you get that knowledge, you get that experience. Remaining 20 age people are not speaking that. That means you're better, you're little mature. This is one method. That it comes by awareness and exposure. The more you expose to different type of things, you learn, you're aware of what is happening in the world, you update yourself, that's how it comes. Second, and the most important tool to measure maturity is how fast you get out of a problem. I have a problem, I have an issue, I'm facing an issue. Mentally, how fast I get out of it. First time somebody insulted me, it took me 3 months to get out of it. 3 months I was crying, I was victimizing myself, I was feeling low, I did not want to speak to anybody in life. Probably that's what I did for first 3 months. Second time I was insulted, I felt I want to run away. I don't want to show my face to the world. But third time I was insulted, it took me only 1 month to come out of it. Insulted does not mean we have done anything wrong. It is their perspective. I'll come to insult and praise a little later. Before that, right? Fourth time or fifth time I'm insulted, I just laugh nowadays. Okay. Thank you, sir. That's what I say. So the time taken for me to come out of that has reduced so much that today people consider me mature. Right? It is not zero. Time taken to come out is not zero. It is still reducing. I may laugh, but I may think about it for 5 minutes and then I'll go back to my work. Right? So maturity obviously comes with the professional attitude of thinking long term. Okay. The third method, quickly I'll move towards that, is diversion versus focused. How do I align my priorities? As a student mentality, how do I put my priorities? In a professional mentality, how do I put my priorities? In a student mentality, the priorities are very simple. First priority many a times is minimum work, maximum relaxation. So I collect items, materials and resources for my relaxation. For example, I'll give you randomly a college student's laptop. If you see, for people who are not very serious in life, or are not looking at a proper growth, who are not professional by the nature, in their laptop, the hard disk, 90% of that will contain games, movies, songs, right? And a lot of unwanted things there. 10% of will have some PDFs related to their education or future, or some YouTube videos or TED Talks. Right? My priorities are that much. If I'm a focused person, then I may not collect a lot of things for entertainment. I may collect. I'm not saying you're Buddha. You're not Buddha. You're also a human being. But priorities are different. You will put a discipline to yourself saying, okay, this Saturday, Sunday, I have to attend this class. Next Friday, I should attend that class. This Monday, Tuesday, I should do this assignment. Tarvartha, I'll do my entertainment. After that, I'll do my entertainment. After that, I'll give appointment to my friend. After that, I'll go out with my friend. Or in this gap, I will go for entertainment and come back. The priority changes. A professional person looks at he says, if I'm not doing this attending seminar today, or if I'm not able to collect this information today, it will hurt me over a period of time. So I should better do it. If I don't submit this report by today, I have to waste another 3-4 days or 3-4 weeks to complete it. Why don't I do it today? Right? So priority. What is the priority? What is that I need to do? Even if I'm happy or unhappy, I should do something on a daily basis or a monthly basis, weekly basis. We'll do it. Right? So these are the 3 areas on which we move from a student's mentality to a professional mentality. Quickly, let me summarize the 3 points. Short-term thinking to long-term thinking. Blaming to suggestive opportunities. Diversion to focus. Right? Now, let me quickly take you, how does this comes? How does this, or what is required for us to become more professional? First of all, the most important parameter is self-confidence. Right? And where does the self-confidence come from? Where does this come from? It comes from three places, basically. All of you know that. One, within yourself. What do you think about yourself? What do you say about yourself is the first reason. Second reason, from others. What do people say about you? Your colleagues, your classmates, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your parents, your relatives. What do they say about you also affects your self-confidence. And third thing is because of my achievements. First of all, what I feel about myself. Second, what others feel about myself. Third thing is my achievements, if any. Three things gives me self-confidence. Right? Okay. Why do I lack self-confidence? What is the reason why I'm not very confident in talking to people or cracking an interview or going for a risk-taking activity or trying to read something, taking a bigger decision in life? What is stopping me? Can you guess? There are 5 to 6 reasons. I just want you to guess the most important, biggest reason. Why do we lack self-confidence? Somebody? What can be the reason?
Communication issues, maybe.
Yes, sir. That is not number one. That is not number one. And this is what I'm going to say. Everybody knows about.
Fear, sir, maybe.
Sorry, I didn't get you. Can you come again? I didn't get your voice.
Internet connection.
Music
Fear.
వచ్చింది.
Hello.
Sorry?
Sir, maybe because of fear, sir.
Fear. Okay, fear is one reason. Okay. Now you are very close to the answer. I have come to Shamshabad
Shyness.
Airport. Now I have to come to Begumpet. Yeah. You brought me to
Shyness.
Shyness. Shyness, I come to where now? Somewhere. Okay. Somebody else? Little more close can we are all coming towards the answer. Shyness, fear. Okay. Sorry. Somebody's trying to communicate. I'm not able to hear. Yeah. Right. Let me tell you the answer. When you said shyness or fear or a communication skill, I am sure you meant what I wanted to say. The biggest reason why we lack self-confidence, we try to see ourselves from other person's perspective. How do they look at me? Look at me in a sense, my confidence, my behavior, character. What do they think about me? When I think about that point, my self-confidence goes down. What will Rajaram sir think about me? What would Varun think about me? What will Saran think about me? When I do this type of searching, I don't know what you will think about me. Absolutely, I cannot find out. I cannot get into your mind and find out. It's not possible. But I get some responses. Oh, Rajaram sir will think very bad about me if I do this. Varun will feel hurt. Saran will feel very bad. So I'll say, I don't know what to do. I keep quiet. That is why the fear comes in, shy comes in. I don't communicate. Right? I don't want to try my English because I fear that if I do a mistake, people laugh at me or people will come to a judgment that I don't know English. So it is not that I don't know English. It is like I believe people feel that I don't know English. See how many loops we are getting into, and that brings my self-confidence down, and I don't want to try. I don't want to take any risk. Right? But do you believe today the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, speaks the best of the English? No. But he is supposed to be going to all India, all world tour. Do you think he's ashamed of himself not speaking English? He speaks English, no doubt about it. That is not best of the English. That is what he knows and speaks. Have you heard speeches of Abdul Kalam or any other big leaders? They all spoke English with their way of speaking English. With a very Tamil accent, Abdul Kalam will speak. With a very Gujarati accent, Modi will speak English. Perfectly fine, no? They don't have that fear and shy because they have self-confidence. So first and foremost reason, stop assessing yourself from others' point of view. What will others think about me is none of your business. Right? So that is what the biggest barrier of self-confidence. Now, how do I overcome this? How do I overcome this? Very simple. I'll just take 2 more minutes to finish it off, and then probably we'll take question answer. How do I develop a self-confidence? First of all, as an individual, what strengths do I have? Please identify your strengths. Now let me tell you, I'll give you homework. Right? I'm a good teacher. Why do I say I'm a good teacher? I'll give you homework, and tomorrow I'll never come and check whether what is the homework have you done or not. So I'm a good teacher. Right? I'll give you a homework. Today in the evening, you speak to your parents, your father, mother, guardian, whoever is there near you, and ask them, what is that one good thing you find in me? What is that one strength for which you'll appreciate me? Ask them. Right? Your Nana, your Chelli, whoever is there. First round of people, not friends. Don't ask your friends. They'll only make a mockery of you. Right? So ask your parents. What is that one thing you find good in me? What will they say? What will they say? Initially, your mother or father will say, Bangaram. No problem, Bangaram. You are perfectly fine. You have everything. That is care and love and affection. After that, again repeat the question. You say, tell me one great strength of mine. Now they may tell you, you are very good in concentrating things. You are very focused in something. You are very aggressive when it comes to getting something done. Or whatever it is. Take from them. I'm just saying listen from them. I'm not saying believe in them. I'm not saying listen from them. You create your own list. Sir, these are my strengths. When we go to interview, you say, no, this is my strength, that's my strength and all. When you fill up some form and all, you write, right? You write the strength, you check whether the same thing is being told by my parents or not. If that matches, that means you are living your strength and other people are also noticing it. If it doesn't match, you believe you have some strength and nobody knows what your strengths are. Currently, that's not a problem. I'm not saying you should show, but I'm saying if you have a strength, people should know about it. So identifying your strength itself is the biggest self-confidence improving thing. So people ask me, sir, what are your strengths? My strength, biggest strength which I say to myself is, I want to learn every day. I believe learning and updating is breathing in life. That's my strength. If you go and ask my students or my alumni or my academician group people or my business friends, they will say, Bansu sir, is quite updated. At least he'll know things in his field. That is my strength. Second tip which I give for you to improving your self-confidence is positive self-talk. And this is not formulated by me. There are a lot of people who talk about it. Positive self-talk. Self-talk, talking to self. Positively. We normally do a lot of negative self-talk, right? We say, oh, I'm like this. What will happen if I don't get that? What will happen? Oh, this is not happening. I'm bad. I don't perform. People don't like me. This is all fine. This is only doing damage. Positive self-talk. Oh, I've been useful to my project mate today. Oh, wow, I planned to do something and I did it. Fantastic. Today, I attend this session. I learned 2 things. I'm going to implement it. Today, I have to do these 4 things. I'll try to do 4 things before evening. I'm very happy that I got to connect with Rajaram sir today. I'm very happy that I met Shankar and Venkatesh and Varun and Shravan today. 4 new friends I found today. Right? So can we do positive self-talk? The more you do positive self-talk, it's like summary. Every day evening when you go to bed, you do a positive self-talk. After 7 days, if you ask what happened in the last 7 days, you'll remember the summary. Right? So these are the 2 great tips which I want to share, which I'm practicing on a day-to-day basis. Identifying my strengths and redefining it, and using positive self-talk to keep me in terms of self-confident. Right? So in the crux, what I'm trying to say, if you're moving from a student's mentality to a professional mentality, self-change, which is a cyclic process through attitude, behavior, and thinking process. Right. With that, I rest my case here. So if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Yeah.
Now we open this debate for a question answer session.
Sure,
So
sir.
if anybody have any questions, you can ask Balsundar
Please.
sir. So sir can answer.
Yes,
So
sir.
before anybody starting, I have a doubt, sir. So
Yeah, please.
can I go with that?
Yes, sir.
See, I work for a bank, right? And
Mhm.
I've joined my bank recently.
Mhm.
So I have an issue with the software. Like we work on a software, uh, and with that application itself, I can work in my office.
Right.
So I request my TM section, technical management system section. They will say you have to wait, sir. But my manager will insist me to work.
Correct.
Without that, I can't work. So I say, ma'am, if I get an application, I can work. Then actually, I'm giving my possible reason. Like
Correct.
but what they will think is, they will think that I'm not willing to work, right? So how should I manage this situation?
Fantastic, sir. Just to understand you better, this is happening for last 5 months, 6 months?
No, I've joined very recently, like for example, 3 months or 4 months.
3 to 4 months, right? Okay,
Yeah,
good. Before that, where were you working?
I was not working anywhere, sir.
Or you are currently joined, or you're fresher into the
Yeah,
organization, right?
yeah,
Very good, sir.
I'm
Right. What's your name? Sorry.
Raja.
Oh, Rajaram. Sorry. Okay, Rajaram. I forgot.
Okay.
Couldn't connect the voice. Okay. Rajaram, sir. It's very simple. I'll tell you what to do. It's a very early age in your life. You're getting into the job prospect, and as soon as you join the job, nice that we met, and I can tell you what to do. You have, I'm sure the bank has a review meeting. Your team has a review meeting.
Yeah, they do have.
Correct. So in a review meeting, I want you to project this information, project this issue with a suggestive approach, the second approach which we saw,
Yes.
right? For which you should do some data collection. What data collection? Let's say in the last 4 months, there are some 20 instances on which you have said this to your manager saying, I need to wait, sir. I'm waiting. It's not come. You tell them the 20 instances, not with a date, but say, sir, there has been 20 to 25 times in the last 4 months where I have to wait for half an hour before I can proceed because of this technical glitch. So what will happen? If you connect that 20 instances into the time taken, which is, let's say, 15 minutes for each instances, which means 20 into 15 is close to 300 minutes. 300 minutes divided by 60 is close to 5 hours. Right? So now can you tell them, sir, I am not able to, I'm not saying I wasted 5 hours. I'm saying I am unable to be productive in the 5 hours because of this issue. I believe there can be a suggestion. I believe there is some software which can help me better, or you give me a suggestion.
Yeah.
What will happen?
There are high chances that they feel that they should do something for me.
Exactly. Now you're not pushing the ball on their court. You are responsible for your growth. Professional approach. Even if they're not able to do, they will know that you are very professional in your work. Instead, students approach. How will be students, sir? What can I do, sir? I cannot do anything. No, I have to wait. No. I can work only when it comes. No. That is a blaming approach. Same situation approach. It is not my fault, no, sir. That is how a student will talk. Student mentality will talk. This is not my fault, no. I am perfectly correct. He is only not giving. It is not coming to me. That is the fear factor because of student mentality. You do that in 2 review meetings, third month you have to look for a new job. But the way I told you, if you approach that way, probably next month they will come up with a small change in the way you have to do, and that will bring a big change in the way they see you or the way you see yourself. You are a solution provider, not a issue identifier. I don't know, Rajaram sir, will it help? Is it really helpful what I say?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, true, true.
Thank you, Rajaram sir. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
anybody have any more questions? You can ask. I think so. Nobody has any questions.
Okay. Okay.
And sir, I want to ask one more question. It's not a question. It's just an idea.
Mm-hmm.
See, at office, our colleague, because we are physically challenged or visually challenged,
Right.
at office, our colleagues deals us in a different way.
Correct.
Some will, some will really help us out. Some will insult us. So,
Correct.
how
Correct.
should we approach as a fresher? See, I am
Fantastic. Fantastic.
right now. I am with a student mentality. For example, I
I
am with a
understand.
student
I understand.
mentality.
I understand.
So I'll get angry
Correct. Correct.
as soon as they do
Correct.
something to me. I'll get
Super.
angry.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you what to
So
do.
I'll react in a bad way. So how
Super,
should we
super.
avoid all these things?
Oh, I have gone through this myself, Rajaramji. I have gone through this myself. Even though, as compared to you, I may be considered as able-bodied, but I have gone through this insulted myself for various other reasons. I'll tell you. I look very dark-skinned actually. That is how normally South Indian people are actually. Not my mistake. It's God's creation, right? I studied in North India where everybody were very fair, right? So what happened? I myself had a low self-esteem. My name being Bala Sundar, people used to call me Kala. I don't know if you understand Hindi. In Hindi, Kala means black.
Yeah.
Right? They used to call Kala, 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 Kala. I used to get very, 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 very badly. I used to feel very bad. I don't want to go to school. I used to cry to my mom and say, I don't want to go to school. Some days she used to cajole me. Some days she used to threaten me. Some days she'll carry me to the school. She has to do all those things. I don't want to go to school. Almost every day I felt bad. I felt insulted. I have to go through that pain. Why? Because I expected appreciation from somebody for something which is not there in me. Got my point? I expected appreciation for something, for somebody, for something which I didn't have. I expected people to consider me equal along with a fair-skinned person, which is a racism or whatever it is. But among kids, it is not racism. It is fun. I didn't understand that. Among kids, it is just fun, right? They didn't mean that I'm a dark-skinned person, so I should sit separately. No. And when I grew up, when I went to college, when I joined office, I was okay, normal. But as soon as I went to Bangalore, this Bangalore city is a very, very, what do you say? It makes you very lazy at one point of time. You get used to places like if you're in Hyderabad. Hyderabad's a very warm and sweaty place normally. So you run. In Bangalore, you don't have to run. It's all cool and lazy place, right? So what happened as soon as I started working in Bangalore, few months, I developed a stomach, paunchy stomach. Right? So I was not looking good. Doesn't matter. But then I was a person who used to do sessions in colleges and seminars. But my physical appearance was demeaning. It was not very good. Right? So I was like little insulted, felt bad. I'll tell you 3 ways to overcome it. I just did a YouTube video on this also. It's called Zen Story. Right? Three ways to do. You have time, sir? I'll just speak for another 3 minutes.
Yeah. No issues, sir. No issues. Go on.
Yeah. 3 ways to overcome it. First way, if somebody is insulting you, let's say, for example, you are going to office, you are sitting in your cabin, right? And in a different place, somebody is calling. Hey, stupid Rajaram. Hey, stupid. Hey, idiot Rajaram. Somebody is calling, right? Now, immediately you feel it is you, and you turn, you try to hear, you ask, who is that? Why is he calling me stupid and all? Then that person comes and says, I'm not calling you, I'm calling that department, Raja. I'm calling finance department Rajaram. I'm calling the attender Rajaram, somebody else, right? So first instance was you feel hurt, you feel you want to retaliate, you are angry, but as soon as you find out this insult is for somebody else, you forgive him, isn't it? You forgive him. You say, oh, that person, okay, you go ahead. I have nothing to do. So my approach, first approach, as soon as somebody insults me and I am not responsible for that, I forgive him thinking he's saying to somebody else, not to me. If somebody says Bala is Kala, oh, he's saying some other Bala, that doesn't matter. I don't take it. Ramakrishna Paramhamsa went to ask for some money to help poor people. So the rich people all insulted him. They hurled abuses on him. Ramakrishna Paramhamsa was standing there smiling. The rich people all went away. So one of the devotees asked Ramakrishna, sir, how are you so cool? How can you not get angry when they're insulting you like this? He says, one plate full of fruits, if they come and give me, and if I don't take it, what will happen? They have to take it back, right? Same thing happens with insult and praise, both. When you're giving me insult, when you're giving me words of abusing, it will hurt me only if I take it. I need to decide whether I want to take it or not. You cannot push it on me. You have all the rights to give it. I have all the rights to not take it. So I will not take it, sir. Then it is not going to affect it. I will believe it is for somebody else. This is the first method. Second method. They are insulting you or they are shouting at you. You have done a mistake. You know it is not because of you the mistake has happened. It is because of somebody else this mistake has happened. You know you're right at that particular point. Then you don't have to speak at all. You don't have to forgive them. You don't have to speak at all. Keep quiet. I'll give you a small Zen story. There was a Zen monk. In Zen Buddhism, the monks are not supposed to touch women. Right? One Zen monk and 4 disciples were crossing a jungle. While crossing the jungle, they hear one shouting from a girl. She says, "Bachao, bachao, help me, save me," and all. These 4 people go there and see she was being chased by a tiger. So they help her, they chase the tiger away, and then they see this girl, she's all with torn clothes and all. Now Zen monk says, where do you want to go? She said, I want to go to the next village. So Zen monk says, okay, come with us. They're all walking, they find a river there, and she says, I cannot swim. So Zen monk says, okay, I'll take you in my back and go. So she carries that badly clothed girl on his back and crosses the river and goes, leaves in the village, and they all continue the journey. But his disciples feel very bad. They insult the monk among themselves. They say, how can he do that? Among Zen monks, they should not touch women. Why is he doing it? Why is he breaking a tradition and all? And then they are so impatient that they go and ask the leader. Says, boss, you shouldn't have touched that girl because it's a mistake which you have done. You should not have done this mistake. It is bad on our culture to do that. And you carried her on your back. It is very bad. You know what the Zen monk replied? He said, I have dropped her 3 hours back. You are carrying her in your mind till now. Got the context? It is not my mistake. I helped. I left it there. So whatever you say is not to me. Third angle. There is an equation where they have said telling you something. You believe there is an area of improvement. Please listen to the feedback in terms of data, not in terms of emotion. Suppose they say, Rajaram, why is this delay? Each time you come, you do a delay. Sorry, sir. What is to be done now? How do I improve? If you believe it is your mistake, ask for changes, ask for improvement. These are 3 ways to overcome negative feedback. First way, forgive. Second way, not related, keep silent, because anyway you're not related to that. Third way is to ask for suggestions and improvement. Right, Rajavanti?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And sir, some more people watching it in YouTube. So if anybody wants to ask any question to sir, you can write at the comment box so that we can pick that and ask.
Sure, sir.
Balsundar sir.
Yeah, sure, sir.
And the participants who are in Zoom, you can also ask your questions right away.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rajaram, can you hear me?
Yeah,
Hello.
you can hear.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hi, sir.
Sai, you're audible.
This is Sai Pawan here.
Yeah, Sai Pawan, shoot.
So thanks for the wonderful, insightful session, sir.
Thank you.
And so mine is not a question exactly, maybe which I'm struggling to take a call on such thing which I have in my
Mhm,
mind.
mhm.
So actually, I currently I'm working with a staffing firm as an recruiter.
Oh, good.
So
Okay.
where I'm into recruitment.
Mhm,
So after the pandemic, in the month of May, I moved into different team. Like
mhm.
when I have the other team, in that team, I have an direct interaction at least.
Okay.
So here after pandemic, so no one knows, like only interaction through WhatsApp or Zoom calls, like
Okay.
thing. So
Mhm.
presently, what my issue is, like problem which I'm facing, like from past like 2 months, almost 2 months, like we are not getting any, like there is no interviews happening. The candidates whom we process to the client.
Okay.
So here there is one thing in work
Sai,
end of the day. Hello.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah. Go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So he, like from 1st of July, he is not responding to the candidates asking me, keep on, like they are not getting any interview calls, and they have been waiting in like since a month and all.
Correct.
Now recent, like then I thought of no sharing these issues with core HR team of my company,
Mhm.
but still I am restricting myself where I thought that this not, like this might be a, like this is not a right thing or not thing to do. So that's the reason why I'm restricting myself. So but still today, like around 1:30 before the I received one message from one of the candidate.
Mhm.
So it somewhere I struck, you know, I was shocked actually.
Mhm.
So he's cursing me, stating that today is no festival of Vinayak Chavithi. So I hope
Okay.
you believe God, and
Ah.
I curse you that your money and status, like whatever it might. So something red. Even I didn't even look at that message again. Like
Forget
some
it. Okay. Forget it.
yeah. So it like I was shocked
It
looking at
hurts.
that
It
message, but
hurts. It
still
hurts.
I know that their pain, because even not only this, even now
Correct.
from
Correct.
past 1 month I'm sending mails, messages to my
Correct. Correct.
manager.
Correct.
He is not responding to the concerns which I have, but he is responding to what he wants. Like if he says anything, I need to do, but
Obviously.
he is not responding to things which I have, like problems or this thing.
Correct. Correct.
So if he is not even giving me scope to raise that, no, ask him.
Correct. Correct. This happens. This happens across industry. This happens across designations. This happens across departments, across businesses. You are not what do you say, exception to this, Sai Pavan. I, in my 46th age now, I'm saying I've gone through this 20 years of my employed work. It happens. This is perfectly fine. This is a very normal situation. Now, how do I get out of it from a professional thinking point of view, right? First of all, your manager, again, I don't think he's a owner of the business. He's also an employee, right?
Yes, yes, right.
So that's where the point comes in. He may be in an employee mindset, not from an entrepreneurial mindset. Mindset, not designation. You are looking from an entrepreneurial mindset. He, being an employee, may not be looking from an entrepreneurial mindset. So how do I project? I was just sharing something to our Apna Rajaram. I'll say the same thing to you.
Yeah.
Because of
Yeah.
these issues, what is the business loss? Can you quantify that? If you can quantify that, that will hurt him. That will make him feel, oh, this many lakhs of business is what I have lost. I could have saved this many lakhs. I could have brought in revenue of these many lakhs if I attended to this issue. This is one angle to look at it. Second angle, Probably he himself do not have solutions for what are the reasons you're raising. Because he being an employee, he's just shooting it to be vice president HR.
Yeah.
Probably it's just in the pipeline you're shouting at, like that message is coming and hurting you, you are hurting him. He's not able to do anything with that. Probably. I'm just saying probably. Right?
Yes.
So we are not talking to the decision maker, ma. So you can say, you can suggest, sir, you, me, can we sit together and take a call and solve these things? If we can solve these things in, let's say, next 15 days, we can save the company this much amount of money. Or reputation. Reputation is qualitative, which is very difficult to monetize. But you can say this much amount of money we can save, or this much amount of revenue we can bring in. Think from a business perspective and communicate. 90% it hits. Because tomorrow, if he doesn't listen, he know that you, if you go to some other department, you will carry the data and you will still talk about how you can bring business to the department. You will always be growing. And just forgive that person who messaged you. He has done it some stage of some emotional disturbance. Everybody's going through here. And believe me, I've been into this.
I can understand that. Yeah.
This pandemic situation. I did a session for MBA students just 2 weeks back. I was telling them how post-COVID recruitment industry is going through a change. What skills to recruit itself is a question today. Gone are the days where we require cliched what do you say, skills. Today we require new skill sets. Right? So the recruitment industry is going through a change.
True.
And that person who wants a job may not know this. He is banking on his resume to get you a job. It's a little difficult. It's not normal like earlier days. So forgive him.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Pawan. Yeah. Right, people. Anybody else?
If anybody wants to ask any more questions, you can ask. And no questions in YouTube also, sir. So,
okay, sir. Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming and enlightening us with your speech. And I think many of had so many questions and so many doubts, and I hope you clarified at least some of those. And they're not connect team will definitely remember you, and I'm sure so many of you have learned so many things. So thank you so much, sir, and for enlightening us. And definitely we look to forward in association with for more webinars in future.
Thank you. Thank you
So much, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, I take leave. Thank you. Yeah.
Sure.
Streaming app is sent.